Relations between India and the United States stand at a critical point. Stance over the war in Ukraine has left the nations divided, so the 2+2 dialogue couldn't have come at a better time. Just ahead of the key meeting, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden sat down for a virtual talk. We had access to only about 10 minutes of the meeting, but 90% of that about Russia and Ukraine war. Biden slammed Russia for the unprovoked assault on Ukraine, and Modi urged both sides to hold peace talks and put an end to killing of innocent civilians.
I want to welcome India's humanitarian support for the people of Ukraine who are suffering a horrific assault, including a tragic shelling on a train station last week that killed dozens of innocent children and women and civilians attempting to flee the violence. The United States and India are going to continue our close consultation on how to manage the destabilizing effects of this Russian war.
मैंने यूक्रेन और रूस दोनों के राष्ट्रपतियों से कई बार फोन पर बातचीत की। मैंने न सिर्फ शांति की अपील की, बल्कि मैंने राष्ट्रपति पुतिन को यूक्रेन के राष्ट्रपति के साथ सीधी बातचीत का सुझाव भी रखा। हमारी संसद में भी यूक्रेन के विषय पर बहुत विस्तार से चर्चा हुई। हाल में बूचा शहर में निर्दोष नागरिकों की हत्याओं की खबर बहुत ही चिंताजनक थी। हमने इसकी तुरंत निंदा की और एक निष्पक्ष जांच की मांग भी की है। हम आशा करते हैं कि रूस और यूक्रेन के बीच चल रही बातचीत से शांति का मार्ग निकलेगा।
Apart from this, the two lauded each other for their cooperation over the years in the Indo-Pacific. Both leaders agreed that India and the United States are natural partners. The 2+2 meeting is scheduled in Washington, D.C. This will be the fourth ministerial dialogue of this kind. It will be led by India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Their counterparts, Lloyd Austin and Antony Blinken, will be present from Washington's side. The meeting comes at a time when the United States has been pressurizing India to take a stand against Russia. But India decided its own foreign policy, and in the Ukraine-Russia war, it has decided to stay neutral. Moscow and Kyiv are both allies of New Delhi. So while India has condemned the violence in Ukraine, it has refused to pick a side. United States does not like that. Earlier, Joe Biden had directly targeted India. He had said that among the Quad partners, only India was being shaky about Russia's assault. Well, New Delhi is not shaky. India has clearly chosen dialogue over blame game. Recently, India bought about 13 million barrels of crude oil from Russia. Reports suggest that New Delhi and Moscow are also trying to set up a rupee-ruble trading system. This comes at a time when the West is doing everything possible to turn the ruble into rubble. So in the latest talks, the war in Europe will most likely remain dominant. Lately, there has been a lot happening in South Asia. Dramatic developments in Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Afghanistan could alter the world order. And lately, the United States has been more than interested in the Indo-Pacific. So these changes in geopolitics could also surface in the talks. Well, let's go back to our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal. Thank you very much for staying on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the situation in Ukraine is very worrying and that India would be sending more medicine to Ukraine. How significant is this 2+2 dialogue? What will be the possible outcomes, especially when it comes to the Ukraine situation?
Well, it's going to be a long night here in Delhi, but a long day in Washington, where, of course, we have seen the intense diplomatic engagement. First, of course, we all have seen between the Indian Prime Minister and the American President Joe Biden. The outcome, of course, of the 2+2 will be on many things on the table. Is Indo-Pacific, defense engagement between the two sides, convergences on Indo-Pacific, worry over an aggressive China, and, of course, a pact which will be signed on monitoring of space debris, meteorites and satellite. But other than that, if we talk about, as you pointed out, about the comments made by the Indian Prime Minister on Ukraine, these are significant comments because for simple reason that the previous such meetings, whether it's the virtual summit with the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, or whether it's the in-person meeting here in Delhi with the Japanese Prime Minister, there was not much comments by the Indian side on the Russian invasion of Ukraine, while the counterparts did condemn the situation there, and of course that was seen as something that they trying to pressurize New Delhi. But this time it was different. The Indian side not only elaborated what India has been doing, but the Indian Prime Minister pointed out one important point, saying that he has proposed to the Russian president the fact that he should have a direct talk with the Ukrainian counterpart, with the Ukrainian president. This is significant because this is a messaging done by New Delhi that we have good relationship with Moscow, and our good relationship with Moscow is helping in a sense not only as a role of mediation, but also in terms of bridging the gap between Kiev and Moscow. So good relationship with Russia is something that helps the West, and this is something that New Delhi can contribute amid the situation which is deteriorating very fast.
We'll have to leave it there. Live from New Delhi, Siddhant Sibal, thank you very much. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.